All right, welcome to another video from the chart readers. Hey, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Otherwise, I can't stress how much I appreciate all the time and the views I've been getting. I really hope you are learning from all this. So today we're going to do one of my favorites, I'll be honest. So we're going to do energy and oil. Again, we're going to do what we always do, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly. We have 5 moving averages, a few horizontal support and resistance lines that I do manually draw myself. And then once we're done up here, we'll use our lower indicators, the MACD and the RSI. Again, up here is about 80% of the work, and then we use this down here as kind of like that double reassurance, right? So we are looking at SCO, okay? So this, again, is a short of oil. If oil does bad, this does good because it's a short. If this does, obviously the other way around, I don't need to say it. And it kind of is starting to look like this might be starting to do well. So again, if this does good, we will probably see some bad stuff across our other stocks that are oil specific, right? But look, a few positive things to say, right? Number one, I just want to look, pretty much on the dollar called this stop. That's a resistance line. Pretty much on the dollar called this bounce. It's a support line, right? Again, I'm not here looking for perfection. Obviously, I love it when it happens, right? It is cool. I'm not going to say it's not. But this is why it's important to just keep these in mind. These are computer generated, right? These are not, and sometimes you're going to need both. That said, look, again, we pretty much hit a hard wall, and in roughly 2 weeks, we hit a good support and have started to bounce up, right? We've broken the 100. We're actually, so there was a break, a fail, and then 1, 2, 3 days over the 8, 1, 2, 3 days over the 50, and we're now coming on the 20. I'll say this. If it breaks the 20 tomorrow, that's a pretty clear path to the 200, right? Obviously, I have my line here. Definitely a good line, right? It's almost a gap up, really, to this thing right here. So I could see it breaking this and going up. Again, that's bad if you like oil stocks, right? Looking at the weekly, it actually looks like it's trying to have some good weeks, right? It's only Tuesday, still pretty early, right? A couple bad days left, and you can easily drop here. Nonetheless, it looks like it's trying to take the 20 for the now 2 weeks, and it might even be trying to take the 8 if it has a good couple days, right? But there was definitely a break of the 8 and the 20 failed down here, might be making a second run up, right? And on the weekly, if it's making a second run up on the weekly, that means it's going to be a bunch of good days, which are bad days for oil. And again, we might see that as we come up. Again, just real quick, look, that's a good RSI, right? It is now green over red, and it actually looks like it's sloping up, right? You know, I like that. This isn't quite saying the same thing, but hey, it's been a worse gap that seems to be closing, and hey, maybe another day or two and boom, they'll both be saying the same thing. So might be bad for these oil stocks we are about to look at. OXY. So check out OXY. Oh man, there's a couple things happening here, right? We definitely made it's the exact opposite actually of what we were looking. So just really quickly, SCO, okay, it was up here on the 26th and down here on the 10th. OXY is down here on the 27th and up here on the 10th, right? So again, it's important to look at the inverses if you are in these, because again, it'll be your early sign. It's literally the opposite, right? So I hope that was a little extra assurance. But look, you know I talk about this a lot, right? Look at this cluster of moving averages. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines out of the total 5, right? It's going to be really hard to break it. It's going to be really hard to lose from it. What generally happens is you get this like mixed trading until it eventually super breaks or eventually super drops, right? The way SCO is shaping up, it actually makes me think we might be coming down here to the 200, right? Because I was saying, hey, SCO might be, looks like it's kind of come up to the 200. This can very easily come down here. And look, I don't even have any lines down here. Oh, I do. And that's actually the in between this channel right here. So you can even see it. If I draw this, it's probably going to be, look at that, right? It's almost to the dollar there, right? So I'm not going to draw the new line. We're just going to keep using the 200 there. But again, just like you saw it with this line, it's going to be the opposite of SCO, and we might be making a this line. So I'm going to say be careful with these people. Be careful. Looking at the weekly, again, kind of same thing, right? This is actually not shaping up well. Trust me, I know we are 2 weeks over, but that's not a great 2 weeks, right? We were trying to make a confirmation up. We actually kind of like, this ended up here, this actually ended down here, right? So the next week wasn't that great. Again, we haven't lost it yet, but I'm more negative on this, especially knowing what SCO just told me. So please be careful with OXY, and I'm now a little more worried as we move into the rest of these oil stocks. Boom, exact same thing, right? Down here on the 26th, up here on the 10th, same as OXY, opposite of SCO, right? Again, we're starting to get a 4-line tight channel. Not as tight, definitely 3 here, right? But I can see the 4th one coming, just gonna make it that much harder to go up. And if I had to get, oh, interesting, the 200 is up here instead of down here. That's just an interesting thing. What that actually means is we are now going to lose all of our moving averages, and we're just going to be making our way down to these lines, right? I like being above moving averages. It's very bad to be under, let alone under the 8, right? So it's actually not a good thing that this is up here. I wanted it to be down here to give me at least one more catch point like OXY does have, right? INDO could be bad, and it'll actually be very bad if we lose 5. Really ugly RSI. Look at that. We have the green looking like it's going to just keep going down with the red staying up. And that's just pretty tight and ugly. But actually, if you zoom in, I think I see green under. I think I see red on top. So INDO not looking good at all on the daily, not looking good at all on the weekly, right? Trading under, trading again under. And like I said, if we lose 5, it's a bad thing. And I realized that we're at 630, honestly, just now. So a drop to 5 would be pretty hardcore. I could see it maybe going to this 588, but again, as strong as SCO look, 5 doesn't seem, you know, it's not unplausible. I will say that much. So I'll throw an extra line right here. I think that 1-2 right there might be worth at least noting. It looks like it's right around 5. Oh, it's on the dot 550. That does seem like a natural in between right there too. So INDO, be careful. 550 for sure seems realistic. Coming to CEI, look, I imagined it, right? Again, Camber Energy, bad SCO, bad OXY, bad INDO, bad SCI. Man, look, this is why I love the 8 moving average. All we're doing is trading under. Make a nice little run, but then we have this other moving average, and then we're back down, right? Again, this is why technicals are a beautiful thing. We're in all-time lows, right? Let me just go to the weekly so I'm not zooming out as much. Yeah, we're in all-time lows. So do not ask yourself how much worse can it get. Make sure you can see 2 more decimals out, right? Again, I don't use any of my personal money on this platform. All I use this for are my indicators. But make sure you can see the other 2 decimals. But if you lose 16, you're going to go to 15, then you're going to go to 14, and I promise you it could keep going lower. It has to get over the 8 before it's worth your hard-earned money, in my opinion. Definitely looking at the weekly, just realized that, sorry. But same story here, right? Again, boom, boom, boom. Maybe we did look at the weekly and I moved. It looked like there wants to be a curve here. Again, bad RSI. I see red up here. Bad SCO. I'm assuming bad things for CEI. I am. IMPP. This, I think, is the last of the oil family. Okay, look at that. There is a cluster. It's not as tight. And look, the last line is pretty much on my 35-cent line, right? So cannot lose 35 cents. Again, make sure you see 2 more decimals out, because I know we're at 38. 35 is not that far away. And then let me make some lines down here. This will be one. That will for sure be one. Can't lose that bad boy. That will be real bad. And then, you know what? This thing's big enough to where I think even the top of this one is definitely worth noting. So, again, couple steps down, but it looks like there's potentially more than a 10-cent drop coming. And that would be, I mean, a little more than 25%. I can tell you that much, right? So, good luck. Right? Don't let your emotions take you. It's not looking good. Look, the weekly wanted to make a run, definitely failed this 20. Bad week. Again, we're not even close to recapturing the bottom of last week, right? So I know it looks like a green candle, but I mean, I would need to be at least at this 39-cent line to be remotely positive. If you know me, you know I want to break this day, right? I want to be better than the last big one, right? So, but again, just kind of following the rest of the family, it really seems like it's going to lose this 35-cent line, this 20 moving average, and kind of work its way down. So be careful. Make sure you can see all 4 decimal points. Uranium coming into UEC. Oh, this is nice. Okay, check it out. Still a lot needs to happen, right? And it's been trading in such a tight cluster. I would want a lot to happen. But I've been saying, if it could get over this little $4 wall, they're safer trading up here. Nothing's guaranteed, right? But you can see it, right? It did a pretty hard drop. Definitely hit my support, my resistance line up here, my support line down here. It really just kind of goes back to this cluster, right? It's hard breaking up, it's hard breaking down, and you end up just kind of riding in the middle, right? So as nice as this looks, hey, we might just be kind of tighter riding, right? But once we can get over it, it'll be safe and good trading. If we lose it, it will be bad trading, right? This definitely is not related in any way, shape, or form to, you know, oil. Hey, maybe in the transport cost and stuff, but I'm sure there are inverses you can look. If you're in uranium, if you are in lithium, if you're in nickel, and those are kind of some of the more energy ones that are about to come up, right? Hell, GEVO, I don't know if methane has a inverse, but you'd be surprised what you can find on Google, right? So again, just a very, very tight cluster. Ugly RSI, but good MACD. I tend to like the RSI a little more. I want good confirmation. Honestly, don't be greedy and wait for 420. If it breaks 420, that's not a bad ride up. That's actually almost, pretty close to 10% right there. And this is a much, much safer 10% channel than any of this noise right here, right? So if you know me, I'm a safe style trader, right? I don't know if that's a real phrase or not, but we'll say I coined it on this thing. Weekly doesn't look too bad. Again, tight cluster on the weekly. If you can imagine a cluster's hard on the daily, that much harder on the weekly, right? So I still think we're just kind of doing this oscillating up and down, maybe getting a little tighter. And hey, as it gets tighter, that should be a time to think it might be making a move. Sorry about that, little tongue-tied. But yeah, this is better than the oil stocks. Is it worth your hard-earned money? I don't think so, right? I would say wait till 420, and that would be a nice, safer 10% gap. GEVO, I swear I love saying that so much. Oh, GEVO, look at you. Okay, interesting. GEVO's, again, trying to make a nice attempt on this 20, and it has a pretty nice gap till at least that cluster there, right? I obviously do have a couple lines. Moving averages, I put more emphasis in moving averages than my lines, especially when there's at least this big a gap or if there's a cluster or anything like that, right? I'm not saying ignore these numbers by any means. I think these are still good. This is not financial advice, of course. But a break of the 20 would make me believe we might make an attempt at the 50. Probably fail it if you want to know my opinion. But hey, if we can get over the 20, that's a good shot. Look, it's been a while. And if you actually been watching my like stock market videos, this looks really similar to the NASDAQ, S&P 500, and the Dow Jones. It's actually really funny. I just noticed it as I zoomed out. But getting over the 20 will not be a simple thing, right? There was a fail right here. Second fail right here. This might be a third fail. That's not a great RSI, right? But hey, if it could get over and get over well, like if we can actually get to 240, we'll call it 239, whatever. That's a very good jump. It's actually a 20% jump up to this, my line and the 50, right? So it gives me a little extra confidence in this one. But GEVO is actually looking like the best one on the daily, but a lot needs to happen. Don't think it's going to be easy to break the 20 tomorrow. Ugly weekly, right? So again, nothing should be assumed to be sustaining. That's why I think, hey, if there's a nice pop, it might pop to this and then drop again. So, but again, how fun is it to say GEVO? GEVO, LIACF. All right, American Lithium. Look, this is a penny stock. It's only $1 something, right? So you got to expect this thing to have some pretty big swings. This thing actually looks a lot like GEVO as well, right? Makes one break at the 20, definitely fails it. Makes another break at the 20, definitely fails it. Ugly day. I wish today was a little more positive, right? It's a positive day because it actually was better than yesterday, right? Yesterday closed here. This actually closed down here, so it was positive. But it opened here and dropped, right? That's actually why you're seeing a red candle. So positive day compared to yesterday. Bad day for someone that thought it was going to run, bought it above the line, and then sadly bought it down here, right? So again, this is why we say wait for confirmation, right? I'm not going to say the same thing too much, or same thing as GEVO, right? A good run might take it to here. GEVO looks a little better than this one though, just based on today's actions. Again, ugly weekly, so I wouldn't imagine it being sustainable. TMC last on the list, but by no means least on the list, right? And look, we've seen a couple things here. I'm gonna it's a little longer than I normally go. Breaking this 100 line will be very important. Okay, we made a good run, but just couldn't do great confirmation. Made a good run, but just couldn't do great confirmation, right? From there, obviously, the 8 is really important. The 20 is really important. And I've been saying it. This 1-7 line is, we're now starting to form a tight cluster of 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. What's seeming like around that 107, right? So this thing's taken a pounding, right? This thing was well over, this thing was at 10 at one point, right? But just not that long ago, beginning of the year, this thing was in the 3s. Market started to do bad around April, right? And it definitely took a hard drop. So can it maybe make another run up to this 150 line at some point? A lot needs to happen, right? This is a weekly chart, right? We're not looking at the daily. This is weekly. So we're going to need a few good weeks string together, right? But the important lines are going to be break 107, break 125. Hopefully that takes us up to 150, okay? And it's funny, someone actually mentioned on the technical video last week that this might hit 140, 150. Look, I'm not saying it's not doable. There's just a decent amount that needs to happen. But 107 is first, and it looks like there's a cluster on the daily, like I was saying. From there, 125 will break this point. And then if, again, we can break this bottom, we'll run here, right? So, and if I make another line, it would be this right here, a little bit over. I guess that's worth making a line. Let's be optimistic that it's going to hit this one and go up too, right? So, love it. Nice. Cool. Again, I can't stress enough. I really hope you're learning. I can't believe how many people are watching these. Subscribe if you have. Otherwise, again, I'm so thankful for your time, and I hope you are learning.